Hello and welcome back to another video with me. Hello, fellow humaning on this planet we call Earth. And I thought I would make another video about hands and wrists. But this time it will be a video about meaningful touch or self-massage. Meaningful touch meaning that it is something that brings some kind of significant feedback to you. This can mean like if you've experienced massages before, something that might feel like that feels like the spot, or that feels like a good spot, or that feels like a good sore. So it can be a little bit of discomfort, but it still feels good. Something that you don't have to clench and grit your way through, something that you can still breathe really calmly and nicely through. And sometimes some things might come up that might be emotional, that's significant in that way. It could bring up joy, could bring up anger, irritation, sadness, but sometimes it doesn't really do that. And sometimes it could just be that feels really good to be touched in that way. So that's meaningful touch. And I have given self-massage or meaningful touch workshops before to various groups of people. So I thought I would just show you some so that maybe we use our hands a lot, like I was talking about in the previous video. We use them to hold our phones, use a laptop, my mouse, open door, close door, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's quite underrated to, massage your hands and help them feel better. Like my hands are feeling a little bit tense and sore right now because I do some body work so on other people. But yeah, it's something that you could help yourself with, and I thought this might be something that could be good to share. And this is something you can do for yourself. So today we'll be doing self-massage, which is something you do for yourself. But you can also do this for someone else. You can do this for partner, friend, anybody who needs a massage. Okay, maybe not like someone on a train. Do not grab the person you're sitting next to's hand and start massaging them. Not on the bus or something like that. Someone you can go, hey, would you like a massage? I think it'd be quite nice. They're like, oh yeah, actually that sounds really good. Thank you very much. And then they say, yes, please take my hand. No, they just pass you. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, someone you can ask, and someone that you know pretty well. Anyway, let's move on. Okay. So the best way, or a good way, to start doing meaningful touch is first to understand more intuitively what the structures you are working on are. And sometimes just doing that through touch helps you feel better already, because you're trying to listen to the body and trying to understand what the structures in your body are. So we're going to find the bony structures in the hand, and I'm going to include the wrist, the hand, so the palm, and the fingers. Okay, and we're going to look at the wrist first. In our wrist, we have eight little bones in there that allow us to move our wrists like this, give us the mobility that we can have in our wrists. Do this with our hands and open. All these different movements that we can do with our wrists are because we have little bones in there instead of just one bone that connects straight into the fingers from the elbow. So here, what you can do now is take a broad touch across the wrist and swivel around the wrist to start to feel and get curious about what the bony structures in the wrists are. You might feel some achiness already, but you might feel some bony protrusions, you might feel some flatness, you might feel something sticking out, something's dipping in. And just get curious about that. What's there in the wrist? And you can also move up and down or in circles. So what this allows you to do is get a very broad sense through your hands on what's there, listening with your hand. Then, from the wrist, there are these bones in our palms that lead into our fingers. And here you can, again, grab your hand, broad touch, move through the hand like this, swivel. And what you'll find is, oh, I feel some bony things, long bony parts of the body. And then you get a general sense of how many there are, including the thumb. And then you start to get more specific. So when you get more specific, you can use the finger pads of your hand to look for the specific bony parts. So we're looking at, there's this joint that leads into the wrist, and then the joint that leads into the rest of the bone that then leads into the finger. And you find each bone. Okay, you can use like a little pincer grip and find them. Like, oh, there's the first one that leads into the pinky, and then the one that leads into the ring finger, fourth finger, and then the one that leads into the middle finger, and the one that leads into the index finger. My hand is pretty sore. Yeah. And then the one from the thumb that leads into the knuckle. So we've now looked at, with our hands, the bone that leads into the knuckle. And sometimes just doing this is enough to help you feel better already, because in trying to find the bony landmarks, you're already giving yourself quite a bit of therapeutic touch. So you can go through them again. And then now what we're going to do is try to find the spaces in between those bones. So bone, space. And then notice what that space is like, how that feels. Then bone, space. Bone, space. And remember, this touch isn't meant to be something that makes you want to hold your breath, grit your teeth, or clench in your body in any way. It's preferably something that feels like something you can breathe through, or what would be subjectively a 6 to 7 out of 10 for you, if you want to go a little bit more intense with the pressure. But not any more than that, because if you reinforce tension by creating more pain, that is usually going to get the body to want to create more tension. So take your time with all of this, because this is all feedback into the body. And this feedback goes into nervous system. The nervous system needs some time to go, that's happening over there. I wonder what we would like to do with it. Which is probably to change the sensation of it, to change the way the tissues are resting, whether they should remain that tense or uncomfortable or not. Yep. All right. Notice how your palm feels now and your wrist after mapping those parts of the palm. How do you feel? What do you notice? You can move your hand and see if there's any difference. Okay. Once you're done sensing into that, we are going to look from the knuckles up each finger. So knuckle, feel the joint, feel around the joint and how that feels like. Can even move the joint if you want to see how the joint works and feels. Then go with each finger and follow the bone to the next joint. So you can feel the entire part of the bone. So bone is 3D, right? So feel the front and back, the sides, all around. Notice how that feels like. The knuckle. Next part, the bone, next joint, all the way to the tip of the finger, and so on. Mm-hmm. This is something you can do with your eyes closed too. Sometimes that makes it easier to feel with your hands. All right. So after you've mapped that, notice how your hand feels like again. Again, you know, your hand might have already changed in perception of how it feels. And it might feel more comfortable already. Next thing we can do, so we've already started the self-massage, but we can go more into it. And now that we know the structures, we can work on the hand in more specific ways. So you can go from the base of the palm all the way following the bone to the tip of the finger. You can use 2 fingers, 3 fingers, and do that. Another thing is you can use the pincer grip that we were doing just now and use your thumb to do the same. But if you're going to use your thumb, I highly recommend going slow and light, because if you're not used to putting pressure through your thumb, it could get uncomfortable after a while, because, I mean, if you're just not used to doing something, tissues need some time to adapt and it'll just get tired. Like if I were to go climb a mountain now, my body will get achy and be like, yo, we haven't climbed a mountain in a while. Why? So yes, if you're going to use your thumb, just take breaks in between and be careful with your thumb. Another thing you can do is just with the 3-finger technique, just place your palm or your hand on a surface and we can do the same thing. You can also work in between the bones again. Now on the palm side, in between the bones. This one people love because it feels really comfortable. And then notice how your hand feels again. Okay. And lastly, we're going to do something for the wrist. Take your other hand, broad touch around, wrap around the wrist. the bones around the wrist. So these two bony parts here, you're going right above them. So that's where some of the joints in the wrist are. And then you're just going to rotate your hand while squeezing down on the wrist. And joints love being squeezed, so you can also just squeeze the wrist and make some little pumping motions. You can also do this to each joint in your hand, and really, like, that feels good. I do this for clients all the time. They love it. I like it too. Feels good because the joints get feedback, and that feels nice through the ligaments and the nerves around that area. So, yep, simple. That's it. If you have watched till the end of this video, thank you very much for still being here. And I hope you get something that helps you. Let me know if you have any questions, drop a comment, or if, I don't know, if I'm on Instagram, you can message me there as well. My email is casshumaning@gmail.com. I'll put all of this in the description down there. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer them, specifically to do with helping your hands and wrists and self-massage. And if you would like more of such videos, let me know in the comments as well. And if you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you liked it. And if you didn't, you can go ahead and dislike it as well. It helps me understand what you like and don't like. Yeah, and I hope this helps you. And that's it. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Bye 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 bye.